All right, Craig. So I really want to know, are you a good agent?
I think I'm better than you.
Oh, I don't know. I think that's up for debate. But today, let's talk about what makes a good agent. And let's be real about it.
Sure. No problem. So we're Craig Nash and Annie Nash with the Unleashed Advisors team at EXP. And welcome back to our podcast. So what do you think makes a good agent? I know the number one thing for me is mindset.
Absolutely. And I think I have to agree with you. Everything is going to start with your mindset. And mindset, it encompasses just about everything that goes into your head and comes out. Because if you're thinking negatively about yourself, if you're thinking negatively about the situations you're in, even the people around you, whatever those negative thoughts might be, they're going to change your actions, even if you're a positive person generally, and not be the best of what you could be. So I think mindset can be something that sets you apart. Tell me something about mindset for you that would lead an agent to be a better agent.
One of my favorite quotes about mindset is our lives are moving in this direction of our strongest thoughts. So what we think is where we're going to go.
Yeah, that's really good. Where'd you get that?
I don't really remember, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay.
It was in a book I read. So
Yeah, I was going to say, it was one of the books that we've read recently. Yeah.
So that really just kind of, what your strongest thought is where you're going in your life. Mm-hmm. So that means that you need to make sure that you have the correct thoughts so you are going in the right direction where you want to go. So mindset to me is basically just making sure that you are in a good right frame, positive frame in your mind before you even start the day.
So what are some things as an agent or just as a person, as a business person? Because really a lot of the things that we do, I think that translates not just real estate, but entrepreneurs, anybody in the business world, even parents. So when you're looking at mindset, what are some of the things that you might do during your day that would help adjust your mindset? What are some of the things that you might do throughout your day to set your mindset and make sure that you have a check that am I in a positive mindset or am I drifting to the negative?
So the way I accomplish that is by actually reading the Bible to start the day.
Absolutely.
I have those habits in place where I read the Bible and then I read something positive. So I make sure that I'm off to a positive mindset right off the bat. So then I just, we have our accountability call right off the bat. So that kind of makes us act a little grateful for what we are going through. So it's an attitude of gratitude, which makes everything a whole lot better.
Yeah, let me hit on that accountability call that we do. It's open to anybody who wants to join us. But in that call, we changed it recently, probably at the start of May, really. Yeah. It's been a little while. Wow. But one of the things that we've always been, what are you grateful for? What are you thankful for? What are the good things in your life? And then what are you going to do to move the needle that day? But what we added today was what we added to the meeting and the call was a motivational or inspirational discussion at the very start of it. So we start with a quote or a video or something to really get us all focused. And then we get into that gratitude. And then what are we doing to move the needle? So in my mind, what that does for me is it really solidifies that positive mindset. And then I'm saying, here's what I'm grateful for. Even if it's a rough day, I wake up with a migraine or I don't feel well or I just don't want to get out of bed because I'm tired. But it gets me thinking, no, there's something great. And then because there's something great, here's what I'm going to do to make it better. And you've got a really good example and quote around the why 1%. Can you explain that?
Yeah. So the whole goal of that accountability call is moving the needle is to get 1% better every day. If you get 1% better throughout the year, you will be 37 times better at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference. If you get 1% worse, it only takes like 7 days to go to nothing.
Yeah. So 37% better. No, not 37%, 37 times
better
by getting better 1%
of the
every day. And that's over a 1 year period. So
Yes.
365 days, 1% better every day. You are 37 times better than you were at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and I forget the math on it, but there's an equation that goes with that. But
It's all percentages.
yeah, it is. And the one thing that I really like about that is that it's not, you don't have to make a drastic change in one day. It's just 1% better. And over the long
Long haul.
play, then you will get better. So that's something that, I've been doing for a while now.
Yeah. So let's move on to item number 2, which we've got a whole list of these, right? Of what do you do to be a better agent? How can you be the best agent that you are? And we're trying to keep this conversation honest and true and authentic, right? So one of the other things that we talk about a lot is being coachable.
No, very much so.
Yeah. Can you explain that a little bit?
So you need to be coachable. You need to be open to change and how you do things, and understand why you do the things that you do, and listen to people around you that might have a different perspective of how you're doing things to make you a little bit better.
It goes back to the 1% better.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have to be coachable. You can't be a know-it-all, and you have to be willing to learn and take advantage of every learning opportunity that you have. Because that's how we grow as agents, is learning over and over and over again. Because one thing that's for sure about in our industry, real estate industry, real estate injury. Yeah, it is some kind of injury sometimes. But one thing about our industry is that one thing's for sure is it's going to change.
Yeah.
I mean, we've just gone through a whole bunch of changes with the NAR lawsuit. And here in South Carolina, we just had a whole bunch of laws passed that are changing a lot of things for us. So, and in the past, we had the whole due diligence change. People have to be adaptive and willing to change and be able to learn as they're going.
So you brought up 2 really good things there that I want to dig a little bit deeper into them. Being coachable and being adaptable. Because they go hand in hand in my mind, but they're also 2 different things. And the reason, or not the reason, and what I think is important about being coachable is reminding ourselves, and we talk about this year, we've mentioned this is our Kobe year. It's 24, it's our Kobe year. And one of the books that we read, I think it's Winning.
Yes.
That might be the name of the book. He goes into Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. And one of the things about both of them is, they were the best of the best in their field, and yet they still had coaches. They still had personal trainers. They still listened to get better. And that's why I think it's important, if you're a new agent or you're an experienced agent, getting a coach, because you may know everything, but likely you don't. And things are constantly changing. So they're going into the adaptable by having a coach and being coachable and being adaptable. You're going to continue to grow in this industry. You're going to continue to grow in any industry, really. And I think that that's something that's really important and can help make you a better agent.
Yeah, for sure. One thing about having a coach is that the one thing I'd recommend is that you have a coach that you really mesh with.
Yeah.
That you can really relate to and really understand what they're trying to get out of you, versus somebody that you're not going to listen to.
So let me ask you a really important question. Am I coachable?
Not from me.
That is very, very true. So for those of you just new to the channel, or, you've been watching this for a while, I got my license in December of 21, and I've been working with Craig since I got my license. But I also have to work with other people because I love him dearly. I don't listen to him so well when he's telling me to do things because you're my husband.
Yeah.
So it's hard to take the constructive feedback kindly from you, for lack of a better way.
And vice versa.
Yeah, you don't listen to me very well either. I will have to say you are not coachable by me. But that brings up a really good topic, because so when we're attracting new agents to our team and to EXP and talking to people about getting into real estate, one of the things that I try to really impress upon them is get a mentor, get a coach, but don't be afraid of firing that mentor or coach, because if you can't listen to them or you're not going to learn from them, you don't respect them, then they shouldn't be the ones teaching you and guiding you. You need to find somebody that you mesh well with, but they can push your buttons. And for me, really, Danielle on our team, her and I are like two peas in a pod, but we listen to each other pretty well. And I guess I can't speak for her, but I really appreciate being able to bounce ideas off of her, because she's got the same personality you do and is very direct. And she can tell me the exact same thing that you tell me, and I'll listen to her. And it'll take me a few days to come back and go, oh yeah, what Craig said was right. That was a really good thing to do. But it's hard. So what would you tell people about finding a mentor or a coach?
It's a must-have. I mean, I have mentors. I have mentors outside the real estate industry. I have mentors inside the real estate industry. I have coaches both ways. So it's really, it's helped me in my career a whole lot. It's something that you need to do. Some coaches are expensive. Some coaches are free, So it's just, whatever you're capable of doing, but make sure that they work with you and you get what you need out of them. Those are the things that are most important as far as that goes. It's just interesting of how much somebody is willing to dive into your life and make you a better person. So, and coaches are in every aspect of our life. I mean, we have a daughter that's a figure skater. She deals with a coach every single day.
Well, every time she gets on the ice, I guess she gets on the ice sometimes, not with her coach, but she's got her coach in her head. And then when she's working to get better, she's listening to the coach on how to make her moves, even the fine tuning, so that she can get a jump better, so she can get a spin better, even the footwork, everything.
Yeah. So everything's coachable. So it's just a matter of finding one that works with you. The next thing I would say for real estate agents that they need to do is make sure that their goals align with their activities.
Ooh, that's good. So do your goals align with the activities that you're doing every day? That can be hard.
Yeah, it can.
So what is something that you would recommend if somebody's goals, how do you check to make sure your activities are aligned with your goals?
You need to make sure that you have your goals first and foremost of what you want to do, of what you want to accomplish in real estate. Whether it's selling a house a week, selling a house a day, selling, a house a month, whatever it is, it's okay. But you need to make sure that your activity aligns up with that goal.
So one of the things that we do, and I don't know that we've specifically talked about it, but I know in previous careers for me, when we were talking about goals, we talked about making sure that they were smart. You have to have goals that are achievable. You have to have goals that are specific. Like you said, sell a house a week, sell a house a month. You have to be able to track it. So are you taking actions to get to that goal? And I guess that's what we're talking about is, do your habits align with the goals that you have? For example.
So for example, if we, our goal is to sell, 140 homes this year. So guess what? We have to talk to 140 people a day. So that is a habit that we create. But that is in multiple ways. It could be phone calls. It could be emails. It could be, social media stuff. It could be text messages. It can be going out in the public and just going one-on-one, face-to-face. But that goal is still there, and you still have to accomplish those habits on a daily basis to achieve that goal.
Can we dive into that one just a little bit?
Sure.
Because I'm the person that you give me a goal or you give me a metric that I have to meet. I'm going to meet that metric. And it took one of our coaches to really dive in because I was getting really down on, I can't talk to, because we split it up. So I have 170 or not 170. I have 75 contacts a day that I need to make. And for me, I was like, I can't make 75 calls and have everybody answer my call. I can't make 300 calls and get 75 answers out of it. And he walked me through what that meant. And so you said going out in public, it's talking to somebody at the grocery store. If they respond back to you, and even if it's just have a nice day, hey, how you doing? Can I help you? Whatever. And I talk to everybody in the grocery store. It drives you and Madison crazy how much I talk to people. But it's that. But then also on the days then when I can't get out and talk to people, or I don't get a social media post and get a lot of engagement, if I can set 3 appointments, he said, don't worry about the 75. You got 3 appointments. And ultimately that's the goal. Get the appointments.
Right.
So finding ways, or maybe you didn't meet exactly to the letter what your goal or your activity was to get to the next goal, your big goal, finding out what the other most important activity is, to say that you've been able to achieve that so you can move on. If you're one of those people like I am, I think that's important.
So are we achieving our goals this year? I think we are.
I think we're getting there. I think we have to go back and reevaluate some of it, because it's compounding. Like I was looking at my numbers, and I'm not a numbers person like you are, but I'm learning how to be a numbers person. And so I went through and I looked at my numbers for my first year. How many sales did I have? What was the total production? And then my second year, what was my total production? What am I doing this year? And holy cow, the actions that we've taken are making a huge difference. Are we going to get to 140 homes? I don't know. But I think we're going to come really close. And I'm definitely not going to change that goal yet, because maybe it'll be the same goal next year so that I can reach it next year.
It'll be more next year.
Yeah. But being able to know that I'm taking the steps and I can see that growth, that's one of the reasons that you, and I did listen, why being able to track numbers is so important.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Tracking numbers is important for being successful.
It is, yeah.
That way you know exactly where you stand and where you are, and what action you may need to take. If there's any deficit or if there's excess, then keep doing what you're doing.
So one of the things that it helped me with, by learning to track my numbers and paying attention to those numbers. And so let's dive into that. What numbers do I track? I track the number of transactions that I have. I track the number. So I work a lot with buyers. I would say 75% buyers, 25% sellers. I'd like to get that number evened out so it's more 50-50, but that's where I am today. I started tracking also the number of contracts that I write, and we have a seller agree to it, even when my buyers back out during due diligence for whatever reason, so that I could see how many contracts am I writing, how many are falling through, and how many am I completing? Because at the end of the year, I want to be able to see that percentage. I'm doing that on the seller side also, but I have more numbers to be able to see what that looks like on the buyer side. The other numbers that I'm tracking is the number of phone calls, texts, conversations, so I can see how many contacts did I make in a day and how many appointments did I make in a day.
Those are all good numbers to track.
What else would you recommend? Because I'm sure I missed some.
You make it very visible for you.
I do.
So that's really important to creating a good habit, is to make it visible and make it easy.
I should have brought my binder with me, because I do that. So in my binder, I've got every day, and on one side is my schedule. On the other side is a blank piece of paper, and I put a sticky there. And I had a hard time trying to figure out, how do I keep track of my contacts? So I have a sticky with tick marks in it. And it's broken down to, here's the text messages sent, here's the phone calls, and then here's the ones that are answered. And with text messages, I do text and emails, because they're digital. And then social media.
Yep. You have to make it very visible. You have to make it very easy to track. That way you continue to do it day after day after day.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're talking about habits. We've gone all around the world, I think. But one of the habits you mentioned, making it easy, but also if you miss a day.
Yeah, don't miss 2 days.
Why not?
It's okay to miss 1 day, but if you miss 2 days, then you're starting to create a bad habit.
Okay. So what can somebody do if you miss a day, you get down on yourself, like I tend to, which is why we do the accountability call, so I can get off of being down on myself. But what is something that somebody could do as a habit to remember their habit? Make sense?
So, you talked about the accountability call. We have accountability partners. So the accountability partner will actually get you back on track to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. It could be a simple text, and it could be, a phone call, whatever it is. Hey, did you do what you said you were going to do? If not, what was the obstacle that got in your way? And let's get back at it today, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But besides the accountability call, when you make your habit visible, like I know somebody that does like a paper clip trick.
Oh yeah, I heard about that yesterday.
Yeah.
I love that.
So like they'll
explain
have a jar of paper clips and they're wanting to make 150 sales calls in a day or whatever it is. As soon as he makes that call, he'll take a paper clip and put it in an empty jar. The goal is to have all the paper clips in the other jar.
You just got to remember which one you're,
Yeah.
when you get about halfway, which one's the which.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's very visible. So you can see how you're doing throughout the day.
Yeah, I like that.
So that's just something that somebody's doing that I know. So I mean, it works. So it's an awesome process. Again, it's visible. It's easy to do. And it's rewarding too at the same time. It's satisfying to see those paper clips go from one jar to the other jar.
Yeah, you know when you're done.
And it's so simply stupid. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
Anything else that you are finding to make a good agent?
Yeah, one of the things that helped me, and we talked about this early in the year, this year, was to develop what our ideal client was. And as a newer agent, for me, it was a little bit hard because I was like, I have to help everybody. But what our coach helped me understand is, no, I don't. And not everybody wants to work with me. I'll say it again. Not everybody wants to work with me. I'm not the best fit for everybody, but I am the best fit for who my ideal client is. And being able to define who that is for you, I think is really important because it helps you focus. What are you doing and why are you doing it? And knowing what your why is, I guess I'm getting into all kinds of things here, but knowing your why, but knowing your ideal client. So can you explain to our audience, what is an ideal client and why is it important for somebody to know as an agent who your ideal client is?
So your ideal client is somebody that actually lines up with your purpose and somebody that's swimming towards your boat. Mm-hmm. Very much so. That way you're not chasing that person. And what I mean by swimming towards your boat is somebody that is looking to work with you. Mm-hmm. Okay. And the ideal client may not, some people will swim towards your boat, but they may not be your ideal client. Mm-hmm. Okay. The ideal client is somebody that is actually somebody that you want to work with, that you love to work with, that you have a purpose for that person to work with them. So to define that, you really have to go deep into what you are looking for as a real estate agent.
Yeah.
And the purpose of the ideal client is then you start attracting those ideal clients.
Yeah.
So
what I found is by knowing who my ideal client is, I schedule better open houses. I schedule better social media posts. I focus my energy better because
you're looking for that specific person.
Right. And it's not, I need just $1 million client. I need somebody but I do want somebody who's at least working towards being qualified, that they know that home ownership is important for them. Because if you don't think so, I'm probably not the best agent for you. I think home ownership is important. So I want to work with people that think that. I also, for me, knowing that I make decisions quickly. Do I make rash decisions? I try not to, but I make decisions quickly, and I work with people better who make decisions quickly and are able to understand that. I work very well with people in helping them come to that decision, but if you can make it quickly, let's go. So knowing those traits about myself, to be able to say that my ideal client needs to be this way, because otherwise we end up with conflict. And that's never a good place to be. But it also allowed me the freedom to be able to go, I don't work well with this kind of person, but I know somebody who will. So knowing our ideal client for all of our team and our agents around us was also kind of important because everybody deserves to have that person that works well with them if they're working on the homeownership journey.
Yeah, very much so. One thing that we did recently was we had everybody define what success meant to them.
Yeah.
It was interesting reading those and understanding where everybody really was and what success meant to each person, because it's all different, But then you can actually start aligning your habits to that success and actually start going after and creating that success as you move along in your journey.
So I would definitely say define success for yourself to make yourself a better agent.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing is that you need to know your why. And what I mean by that is you need to understand why you are in real estate and why you do what you do. Okay. Because there's something that's out there called the golden circle.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Explain that to people, please.
So the golden circle is three circles, one inside the other. And the outside one is what you do. The middle one is how you do it. And the center one is why you do it. So if you define your why and you work your way out versus working your way in, you'll be much more successful because you'll define why you do what you do and you'll be able to articulate that and how you do it. And then selling real estate is just the what you do, versus, hey, I sell real estate. This is how I do it from all the marketing and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. Would you like to buy a house?
Right.
No.
No. The statement that really stuck out to me when you started talking about that was people will buy why you do what you do before they'll buy what you do, why you do it.
Yep. Very much so. They're going to buy why you do what you do over what you do.
Yeah. I thought that was really powerful.
Yep. So that's a very important thing to just define your why. And if anybody wants to talk about that, I'm more than welcome to talk about that kind of stuff with people. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
So, anything else? I mean, I have a couple more here.
I was gonna say I have one more that you have been really good about not pushing. You've been really good about explaining and teaching and guiding. And for me, it's time blocking or knowing your schedule. And yesterday we met with somebody that we've been friends with for at least 24 years. You've been friends with her much longer than me. But she said even years ago when you worked with her in a different field, you were like, what's your schedule look like? So talk to us about why a schedule is important. And then what does a typical or an example schedule for an agent look like?
Sure. So the reason is I'm very scheduled is because I want to know what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, and why I'm doing it. So, I mean, it's very important to keep you on track, to keep you focused. That way you can actually get stuff done. Mm-hmm. It's amazing when you become a scheduled person of how much stuff you can get done. We all have this bandwidth, it comes and goes, it comes and goes. But as the more scheduled agent that you are or the scheduled person that you are, your bandwidth grows because all of a sudden you're accomplishing things and then you can add stuff to it. Mm-hmm. And you can understand where all those things fall in. So typically my schedule looks like I wake up, today I woke up at 5. Took a shower, got ready. Those are typical habits that I have every day. And then I went to reading the Bible. Okay. Had my quiet time, did that for a certain period of time. And then I started getting ready for this session that we're having. But usually if this is just a one-off kind of day, but usually it's an we had the accountability call this morning too. So we have the accountability call and then from 8 on, from 8 to 9 to 9 to 10, I'm actually looking at who I need the help and where they are in the whole process. And then I'm starting to make phone calls and I'm starting to go through all my contacts to make sure I get all my contacts done early. Mm-hmm. And then in the afternoons, I'll have lunch. Maybe I'll make it a lunch appointment with somebody. And then I'm running appointments thereafter, whether it's showing houses, doing listing and presentation or something like that. I'm pretty much a hard stop at 6. Mm-hmm. So I stop at 6 and it's pretty much family time, dinner and all that stuff. And I'm an old guy, so I'm in bed by 9.
Facts.
So yeah, but that's my schedule, and what I call that more of like a plan of execution, because you need to have that plan scheduled out every day so you can execute that plan and know exactly what you're supposed to be doing when you're supposed to do it. Mm-hmm. And if you ever get off, there's always those interruptions that'll happen.
Right.
But if you have that schedule, you can always go back to, well, what am I supposed to be doing at this time? This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So
for me, when the squirrel runs through the room and then I sit down, I'm like, what am I doing today? It's easy. It makes it much easier now that I have. So I try to have a detailed schedule like you, but I don't always. Usually I'll have time blocks of,
that's fine.
these things need to happen. And so when that squirrel runs through the room, because it happens often, I can look at my time block. Oh yeah, this is phone calls and reaching out to people. And so I spend that time.
And the reason to go back to that schedule and to understand what you're supposed to be doing is it allows you to accomplish things that you wouldn't accomplish if you didn't have a schedule, and then the squirrel run through the room and then you're off down a rabbit hole somewhere.
Yeah, and you know that better than anybody, how many rabbit holes I wind up in a day.
So, I mean, it becomes an unproductive day versus a productive day.
Yeah. When you described it to me, it really reminded me of, I mean, everybody's seen the video of the professor or somebody with the jar and all the balls or the rocks or whatever. And by having this time blocking schedule, it's putting in all the big blocks or the big rocks into the jar. And then I can feed in the smaller ones and then the little ones, and then the water fills up the rest of it. So I can fit a whole lot more in my day and get a lot more things accomplished than if I was just, today I'm gonna show houses and I'm gonna look at some stuff and I will make some phone calls. Because I used to be, here's my list of things I need to get done. And I still do that, but I didn't have it tied to a schedule. By tying it to a schedule, it has allowed me to get so much more of those things done. And I would argue also, which we didn't talk about having this conversation, but for me, learning how to delegate, because we have gotten a lot busier. We're executing. And so those things are happening. And getting a transaction coordinator has been a lifesaver for me. It allows so much more time to do the things that bring in more business. And she's tremendous at what she does.
Yeah.
And it helps us. So I think that's another thing.
It's nice to be able to just go, here, take care of this. And
Yeah,
she does. So
well, and yesterday was a really good example of that. We've talked about what yesterday was. Yesterday we spent a lot of time in the car, but I was able to just be like, Kaylee, these things need to be done. Hey, Kaylee. And she is on top of it. She's like, hey, Miss Annie, I've got blah, blah, this addendum's coming out and you need to go check your email. And so while we're driving, I could have you check it. Yep. Sign that for me. Yep. Sign that for me. Read it to me. What does it mean? So, I mean, it just freed up so much time, because before we had that, I would have been so stressed out yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was able to enjoy yesterday. We had a work, but it was also a little bit of a family day too. So it was fantastic.
Nice. So the other thing is that I think every agent should be scripted.
Oh, yes. The scripted agent.
Yes.
Are you a scripted agent?
Yes. So, I mean, a lot of people get on the phone or they'll just free will talk.
Well, and one of the conversations that we have a lot of times with new agents is, well, it doesn't sound like me. Well, I don't want to be scripted. I don't want to sound like a robot.
So when I talk about being scripted,
Yeah. So let's talk through this.
is not that you're reading a script. It is that you have a script that has become yours, and you know it forwards and backwards, and you can say it like that.
Where would an agent get a script to use to start from?
Well, we have 1,000 scripts out there.
But what is important about these scripts?
What do you mean? What's important about these scripts?
So a lot of the scripts that we have come up with and we've compiled, we didn't make them ourselves.
No, we stole them from everybody.
Yeah, but the reason that we've stolen them from other people or borrowed or...
Because they work.
They work, exactly. And there are reasons that those words are in the script the way that they are.
Yep.
Because they work.
Yep.
And I'll go back to our coach that we had that, and we've heard this from numerous coaches now, to practice your script. And,
don't practice on your clients, practice on somebody else.
Exactly. If you're not practicing your scripts, you're practicing on your clients. Do you want to practice on your clients, or do you want to practice on your own?
Yep. Or get an accountability partner and practice with them.
Yeah. But there were a number of different ways to go through a script to really start memorizing it. Do you remember what they were?
Yeah, there were 6 of them.
Yep.
Write it.
Read it.
Read it.
Recite it.
Recite it. Record it.
Yep.
Repeat it.
Repeat it. But so I heard another way to do it. One of them told us to, same kind of thing, but when you're reciting it, recite it to a metronome.
Yep.
So you're going at pace, and then recite it as fast as you can.
Yep.
So that you're really just like drilling those words into your head of what they are. And then with the metronome, you're working on the pace of it. And then the last one was to practice the ups and downs. So when you make a statement, you're making a statement versus making a question, the ups and the downs.
Very much so.
So that when you go through it with your clients, it is part of who you are. You're not having to think about the words that you're saying. You're able to think about what is going on in the conversation.
Yep. And that's very important because there are going to be conversations that you have that are just going to come out naturally if you become a scripted agent. Mm-hmm. And then they're going to have an objection or something like that. Well, guess what? If you're a scripted agent, you have the answer right off the top of their bat. Yeah. Off the top of your head, where it just comes out naturally.
Yeah.
So that's the benefit of being a scripted agent. Mm-hmm. You know, yeah, there's times when you're going to get out in public and you're just going to talk about people. You know, talk with talk. You know, not talk
we
about people.
We don't go talk about people,
but talk with people. And the number one question I get is, you know, how's the market? Well, you need to have an answer for that.
So
it needs to be scripted.
So what's your answer?
Yeah. Well, you put me on the spot here. Now.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, there's an answer for that. Mm-hmm. You know, how is the market? So that's something that is a question that comes up a lot. There's an answer for it.
Mm-hmm. But the question from everybody, well, each person that asks that question, how is the market? They're asking because they've got a different thing in their mind.
Yeah.
Because the market could be a lot of different things.
Yep.
Well, how's the market?
So,
is it resales? Is it in Malden? Is it Simpsonville? Is
just so you know, my script is a question back to them.
I know.
What do you want to know about the market?
I know.
What are you interested in the market?
Hey, guess what, y'all? We've practiced this together.
Yeah. So those are the things that, you know, we do is become a scripted agent. Mm-hmm.
So I had somebody also, and I watch a ton of videos, or I'm getting better at watching videos to learn. We do learn a lot. But one of them that she was working on a listing presentation and, you know, guiding and walking through the script for that. And what I really liked was she was very open and honest. And she's like, so here's the clipboard. Have your script on the clipboard. And because it's questions. So you're writing in the answers. The people you're with, they have no idea that you're reading a script. All they see is that you're writing things because you're asking questions about the house. So don't try to, yes, you should memorize and you should make it your own. But there are some times where making sure that you've got it written out and you can read it there is just fine as well. Know that script before you go in. Don't just, here's a clean sheet of paper that I've written the script on. And, you know, it's the first time you're ever doing it. I don't recommend that at all. No. But I do recommend don't get yourself so psyched out that you have to memorize every single word. Having it on a clipboard and being able to, especially if it's questions, being able to read those questions and ask them to your clients or prospective clients is also an acceptable way to still be a scripted agent.
Very much so. So I do have one other thing that, you know, you need to make sure that your expectations about real estate are right.
Ooh. So let's talk about expectations.
So our expectations when you're a successful agent is understanding that there's a lot of work involved in real estate. We just listed off a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
And we work hard every single day to get all that stuff done. Mm-hmm. All right. So it's not HGTV, whatever it is. You know, clients don't fall out of the sky. Sometimes they do, but they don't normally fall out of the sky.
When they fall out of the sky, they're going to cost you something.
Yeah.
They're not free.
Yeah. But also when they fall out of the sky, it's because you've been working with that person for over a year and then all of a sudden they're ready.
Oh, I was thinking more about some of the lead.
Oh, like Zillow? Yeah. But even that's not even a falling out of the skies lead.
Yeah.
But those things do come along, but rarely it is. You have to work for your.
Well, even when you start getting those leads that come in from another external source, whether it's a lead source that you've paid for or that you're paying for through referral fee or whatever, but a lot of now, my business is becoming a lot more referrals, but it's because of the work that I did in the past. Right. So especially a new agent, you can't look at an experienced agent and be like, I'm going to do what they're doing right now and have the success that they're having right this minute.
Right.
It's a lot of hard work. And somebody had warned me of that when I changed careers. I don't think I've talked to you about this, but when I changed careers, I had a previous boss who, in all the best intentions that he had, I enjoyed working there. They loved me. I feel like they did.
They loved you.
But the question or the comment that he kept saying is, I've talked to other real estate agents. I've got a real estate agent in my neighborhood, and they just keep saying with your income goal, that's really, really hard. And you're going to have to work really, really hard. And I kept thinking, I already work hard. I work hard for you. So this is going to be easy. And my eyes were opened.
Yeah.
Real estate is hard work.
It is very much hard work.
It's not just showing beautiful houses.
Which brings me to one of my final points on this.
Okay.
Is if you are not following up with people, you are not going to be successful.
So how many times does somebody have to follow up with a person on average? I mean, not everybody is this way, but how many times do you have to follow up with somebody before they become a really solid lead?
So most people say 5 to 7 times.
At least, yeah.
I say 20.
Ooh, 20 times. Why 20?
It just seems to be a more feasible thing. And I will tell you that most agents are not following up with a client or a customer twice.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you want to really get into the millions of making in real estate, you better be following up with everybody all the time.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And unless they tell you to go away, pound sand, or whatever it is, you still follow up with them.
Really, I would say, unless they tell you, do not call me.
Yeah.
Or email me or text me. I still check in with them. I mean, if we had any kind of a friendly conversation at all, even if it was, oh, I'm not interested. Oh, I've had one I had one customer, one lead that I had that we had a great conversation. And then I don't know what happened towards the end. She was like, well, my daughter-in-law, she's an agent, and I think I'll probably just use her. And I went, okay, that's fine. Thanks. And I followed up with her like 2 weeks ago. This has been 3 or 4 months. And she was like, oh, yeah, I'm still looking at moving to Greenville. We had some things happen, and I would really love to use you. I was like, seriously? Okay. And I had followed up with her just a few things. I'd still emailing her properties in the area and stuff like that. So she knew that I wasn't really going away. And I'll respect her. She said she was going to use her daughter. I respect that relationship. But if things don't work out, I'm here to help. And so that was a really cool conversation, but it was because of my follow-up.
Yeah. So speaking of the follow-up, so I'm a follow-up dude. So if you're in my system, you're getting email from me, a text from me, a phone call from me in some way, shape, or form pretty much all the time. And the reason I know this works is because I've had several people that have never been able to get on the phone. They've never responded to an email. They've never responded to a text. Will call me out of the blue 2 years later. Hey, I need to sell my house. And because you followed up with me so relentlessly, you're the guy I'm using.
Yeah.
So
Follow-up is key.
Follow-up is very key to everything. So that's kind of my list of stuff I have. Let's talk about one more thing. You better be on social media.
Yes. And I think we're going to make a video about this because I want to dig into it more. But for sure, social media, you can't be a secret agent. You've told us and our team and our organization, don't be a secret agent. I've heard it from others. If you're not on social media, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but if you're not on social media letting people know that you're a real estate agent, you're missing a huge opportunity. It doesn't mean you have to go on there and be salesy. You just need to make sure that people are aware you're an agent and that you do know the area.
So my opinion on social media is I'm not very good at it, but I'm on it. But at the same time, everybody knows I'm an agent. Okay. And the way I view everybody else, I view them as a client. Because everybody to me is a client.
What does that mean to you?
Like there's an opportunity standing in front of me when I'm talking to somebody.
Yeah.
They may not be ready to do anything now, but they're going to know what I do, and I'm going to keep in touch with them. All right. And that even goes for agents.
Yeah.
So if you're an agent, man, I'd love to talk to you about coming on our team. So,
or just joining EXP.
yeah. I mean, those things, I mean, again, it's follow up on those. I treat them as clients. Everybody is a client of mine. And that's a mindset thing.
Yep.
So
there you have it. What do you need to be a successful agent in this market? We got a little bit real. You learned a little bit more about us, I think. And hopefully you got some really good tips about how to become a better agent or become a really great agent today in this market. We are Craig and Annie Nash with the Unleashed Advisors team at eXp Realty. And as always, look out world, we are unleashed.